The year was 1992. Far off the coast of South America, the European cargo ship SS Aurora Dawn moved slowly through dark Atlantic waters. The massive vessel had traveled this route dozens of times before. For Captain Alex Grant and his co-captain Liam Carter, this was just another routine journey across dangerous but familiar seas. At least, that's what it seemed. The weather was calm. Too calm. The ocean looked like black glass beneath the moonlight. No storms, no strong winds, no radio interference. Everything aboard the Aurora Dawn appeared normal during the first few hours of the voyage. But there was one passenger on the ship who never seemed comfortable. A 16-year-old girl named Anna Reyes. She wasn't part of the crew. She was the daughter of one of the ship's engineers. Forced to travel after a family emergency left her with nowhere else to go. Quiet, pale, reserved. She barely spoke to anyone. But there was something strange about her. Every time someone looked into her eyes, it felt like she knew something nobody else did. Like she was waiting for something terrible to happen. And sometime after midnight, the atmosphere aboard the ship began to change. First came the silence. Not ordinary silence. A deep, unnatural stillness. Even the ocean seemed dead. The crew members noticed it immediately. Conversations faded. Engines echoed louder than usual. Every sound felt distant, swallowed by the darkness surrounding the vessel. Then someone spotted lights, small ones, moving across the water. At first, they looked like fishing boats, tiny silhouettes floating in the distance. But this part of the ocean wasn't known for fishermen. It was known for disappearances. Several ships had reportedly vanished in these waters over the years. Some were found abandoned. Others were never found at all. No distress calls. No survivors. No explanations. Within minutes, the unidentified boats surrounded the Aurora Dawn. Captain Alex ordered radio contact immediately. No response. Again, nothing. The atmosphere on deck became tense. Crew members exchanged nervous looks as the unknown boats moved closer through the darkness. Then suddenly, armed men appeared on the upper deck. No warning, no negotiation, just guns. One of them stepped forward and spoke in broken English. "Ship belongs to us now," Liam whispered under his breath. "We're trapped." Alex already understood the situation. These weren't ordinary pirates. Something about them felt wrong. Too calm, too confident, like they already knew how the night would end. Crew members panicked. Some froze. Others prayed. Then Anna quietly walked toward Captain Alex. Her voice trembled as she said, "Sir, they're not going to leave anyone alive." Alex looked at her carefully. "How do you know that?" For several seconds, she said nothing. Then she whispered, "I saw one of them smiling." Alex frowned. "So?" Anna slowly looked toward the dark deck. Not the kind of smile someone makes when they win. Her eyes filled with fear. It looked like someone starting a game. That sentence changed everything. Captain Alex made his decision immediately. Under the cover of darkness, Alex, Liam, and Anna slipped below deck. They moved carefully through the lower corridors while distant shouting echoed above them. The ship was already lost. Now they just needed to survive. At the rear of the vessel, they found an emergency lifeboat. Small, old, no engine. Only a few bottles of water and several packs of dry food remained inside. It wasn't a plan. It was desperation. As they lowered the boat into the ocean, a loud crack exploded behind them. A gunshot. The sound echoed across the water. Nobody looked back. Seconds later, the lifeboat drifted away from the massive cargo ship. The SS Aurora Dawn slowly disappeared into the darkness behind them until it became nothing more than a shadow swallowed by the sea. Then finally, they understood the truth. They were completely alone. The first few hours passed in silence, not because they had nothing to say, but because their minds still refused to accept what had happened. The ocean stretched endlessly around them in every direction. Black water, cold wind, infinite darkness. The lifeboat suddenly felt impossibly small. When morning arrived, reality became clearer. They counted their supplies. Very little water, almost no food, no navigation equipment, no radio, no engine. The ocean would decide where they went, and the ocean rarely showed mercy. The sea looked peaceful during the day, but experienced sailors knew the truth. Calm water could be deadlier than storms. Without strong waves, the boat drifted slowly and silently, carrying them farther from civilization every hour without them realizing it. By afternoon, the heat became unbearable. The sun burned directly above them. Their skin blistered. Their lips cracked. They decided to ration water immediately, one small sip at a time. The human body doesn't forgive thirst. First comes discomfort, then weakness, then confusion, then madness. Anna barely spoke, but she kept staring at the ocean, as if waiting for someone or something. By sunset, no ships appeared, no planes, nothing. And when darkness returned that night, they realized something horrifying. This wasn't going to last hours, maybe not even days. Out at sea, time becomes something else entirely. Every hour feels endless. Every night feels eternal. And waiting becomes torture. By the third morning, the effects of dehydration had become severe. Their throats burned. Their heads pounded constantly. Even thinking required effort. The remaining water supply was almost gone. Alex carefully opened one bottle and allowed each person a tiny mouthful before sealing it again immediately. But rationing creates a cruel psychological effect. The less water you drink, the more your body demands it. Soon, survival becomes a war against your own instincts. The sun rose higher, heat reflected violently off the ocean surface. There was nowhere to hide, no shade, no escape. Then suddenly, Anna spoke. Quietly, "We're not alone." Liam turned sharply. "What does that mean?" Anna pointed toward the water. There was nothing there, only empty sea. Liam snapped angrily. "Stop trying to scare us." But Alex remained silent, because Anna didn't look afraid. She looked certain. And that was far more terrifying. From that moment onward, the journey stopped feeling like simple survival. Something else had entered the story. Something invisible. Something watching. The ocean remained calm, but the silence now carried weight, like a presence hidden beneath the surface. Liam became increasingly paranoid. He constantly scanned the horizon, searching for movement. Everywhere he looked, nothing. Yet the feeling remained. Even Alex, a man hardened by decades at sea, could no longer ignore it. Experienced sailors know something most people never understand. Sometimes danger isn't seen. Sometimes it's felt. On the fourth day, exhaustion destroyed what little strength they had left. None of them slept properly anymore. Every time they closed their eyes, they felt movement beneath the boat. But the water remained still. Their minds were beginning to break. By noon, they had almost no water remaining. Speaking itself required too much energy. Then Liam noticed something. Far away on the horizon, a thin, dark line. At first, it looked like a trick of light, a mirage. But as hours passed, it remained, neither moving closer nor disappearing. Hope and fear appeared together inside them for the first time. The next morning, the shape had changed. Now it had height, form, structure, land, an island. Relief flooded through them. But something about it felt wrong. As the lifeboat drifted closer, they noticed the shoreline was mostly jagged black rock. Very little sand. Dense green jungle rose behind it. And there was no sign of life. No birds, no animals, no smoke, nothing. When the boat finally struck the rocks, they collapsed onto solid ground for the first time in days. Alex looked around carefully. His instincts screamed the same warning repeatedly. This place isn't normal, but survival came first. Water mattered more than fear. As evening approached, the island grew stranger. The jungle felt unnaturally dense. Trees twisted at impossible angles. Thick vines hung like ropes from branches. And the silence was unbearable. No insects, no birds, no wind. Just an oppressive stillness pressing down from every direction. That night, none of them slept, because now they feared the island more than the ocean. The following days blurred together. They found small pools of rainwater trapped between rocks and filtered it through torn cloth. They ate unfamiliar fruit carefully, terrified of poisoning themselves. Storms arrived suddenly, soaking them in freezing rain. Without fire, the cold slowly drained their remaining strength. Time lost meaning. Only sunlight and darkness existed anymore. Then one morning, the sound of the ocean changed. The waves weren't rough, but deep beneath them came a low, rumbling echo, like a massive ship somewhere far away. Alex noticed it immediately but said nothing. False hope could destroy people faster than starvation. Together they hid near the shoreline and watched the horizon. Then they saw it. A shape. Long, dark, motionless at first, but slowly becoming clearer. A ship. For the first time in weeks, hope returned. But that night, Anna quietly said something that froze Alex's blood. "They're not here to rescue us." Alex turned toward her. "What are you talking about?" Without looking at him, Anna whispered, "They're the same men from the ship." Liam exploded angrily. "You've lost your mind." But Anna finally looked directly at him. And for the first time, there was no fear in her eyes, only certainty. "I saw them that night," she said softly. "I was the last one on deck before we escaped." Silence filled the jungle. Then Alex realized something horrifying. If the attackers had seen Anna, why didn't they stop her? Why let them escape? Unless they were meant to. The next morning, the approaching vessel became unmistakably real. A rescue ship. Alex made a decision immediately. No fire, no noise. We wait. Weak and barely able to stand, they walked onto the shoreline and waited. Hours passed. Then, the distant roar of helicopter blades shattered the silence. A rescue helicopter appeared overhead. A rope dropped from the sky. No questions were asked. First, Liam was lifted. Then Alex. Anna stayed for last. As the helicopter rose into the air, the island slowly disappeared beneath clouds and fog. The same island that had somehow kept them alive, while slowly destroying them. Inside the rescue vessel, several uniformed officers questioned them carefully. Nobody smiled. Nobody celebrated. An officer sat across from Alex and asked calmly, "Name?" "Captain Alex Grant." "Co-Captain Liam Carter." The officer nodded and continued writing. Then his eyes moved toward Anna. "And her?" Alex turned toward the girl. "Anna." The officer paused, then asked another question. "Ship?" "SS Aurora Dawn." Another pause. Then, "Year?" 992. The officer slowly looked up. "Are you sure?" Alex frowned. "Yes." The room became silent. Then the officer spoke carefully. "Captain, it's 1993. Nobody moved. You've been missing for 15 months. Liam stared in disbelief. No, that's impossible." But the officer continued, "The ship was hijacked by pirates. The company paid ransom for surviving crew members. Search operations continued for months. Aircraft, ships, satellite sweeps. Nothing was ever found. Eventually, all 3 of them were declared dead." Alex's mind struggled to process the words. 15 months? For them, it had only felt like days. Then Alex asked quietly, "And Anna?" The officer looked confused. "Who?" Alex pointed immediately. "The girl. She was with us." Liam nodded rapidly. "She survived with us?" The officer opened a file, checked the crew list carefully, then slowly shook his head. There was no Anna aboard the SS Aurora Dawn. The room suddenly felt freezing cold. Alex turned around slowly toward the chair where Anna had been sitting. Empty. She was gone. Liam stood up immediately. "She was right here!" The crew searched the entire vessel. Every room, every hallway, every deck. No trace of her existed. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. Every moment replayed endlessly in his mind. Anna's voice, her warnings, her eyes. Then suddenly, he remembered something. He rushed to the officer and demanded the original investigation file. The officer opened it silently. Pages turned. Then a photograph appeared. Alex's hands began trembling instantly. It was a teenage girl, 16 years old. Below the photo were the words, "Anna Reyes, missing, 1992. Last seen aboard SS Aurora Dawn." Alex's breathing stopped. The officer spoke softly. "She disappeared the night of the attack. We never found her." Silence filled the room once more. Finally, Alex whispered, "She was with us." The officer looked directly into his eyes and said nothing. Because some questions don't have answers. Was Anna real? Was she only a hallucination created by dehydration and trauma? Or had something followed them back from that island? One truth remained undeniable. They hadn't escaped only the ocean. They had escaped something else. And some places, even after you leave them, never truly let you go.